I think when I sit with it for a second here, I just want people to know that I'm a real person.
It was through scholarships, financial aid programs, and work study where my earnings from a job on campus went to
as a role model. And I think it's a missed opportunity if I'm not doing something to show them how you want to move in the world.
What if I told you that the fairy tale story everyone thinks they know about Meghan Markle might not be the full truth? For years, whispers have circled about a shadowy chapter in her past, one filled with Vegas chapels, sealed records, and even a missing year that nobody, not even the sharpest reporters, can explain away. And the most jaw-dropping rumor of them all? Some say Meghan isn't just a mom of 2 adorable kids right now. They claim she's already a grandmother. Yes, right now, not someday in the future. I'm not saying it's fact, but the gossip running wild on social media is outrageous enough to make anyone stop and rethink everything.
Came direct from Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, via an intermediary.
Let's roll the tape back. Before Meghan became a global name, before the tiaras, before the royal walk down the aisle, before the headlines, she was just Rachel from Suits. But there was one man who knew her long before the world ever did. He saw the real Meghan, not the polished version the cameras fell in love with.
Harry flaunts his family wealth in a latest cringeworthy bid to overshadow
his name? Trevor Engelson. And believe me, he's been sitting on secrets that could shatter the perfect Duchess image. Trevor wasn't just some boyfriend from her 20s. He was Meghan's first husband, a successful Hollywood producer who dated her for 7 years before they tied the knot in a sun-soaked Jamaican beach wedding. But here's where the story explodes. That marriage didn't just quietly fizzle out, it imploded. And Trevor, he was left absolutely blindsided.
Why was Prince Harry so easily seduced by Meghan Markle? Because
we're talking about a breakup so cold, so abrupt, that Meghan allegedly just mailed her engagement and wedding rings back to him. Mailed, as if she was returning a faulty blender to Amazon. Now, Trevor could have easily gone to the tabloids, sold his story for millions, cashed in on his royal connection. Publishers begged him. Tabloids circled like vultures. Every outlet wanted him to spill. But Trevor? He chose silence. Complete, unnerving silence. And that silence? It has only fueled the fire.
Loyalty before the Netflix deals and global headlines, Meghan Markle was just another actress grinding in Los Angeles, trying to land roles.
Because here's the thing. People close to them whisper that Trevor's silence isn't some noble act of taking the high road. No, sources hint that Trevor has been sitting on information that came through mutual friends. Information about Meghan's life long before she and Trevor ever crossed paths. Allegations so explosive they'd make her Oprah interview look like chit-chat at brunch. And the most chilling part? Trevor has reportedly told his closest friends that Meghan's carefully constructed life story, the timeline we've all been fed, doesn't match what he uncovered during their relationship.
Exclusive. Meghan's ex-husband tells all in highly anticipated tell-all book, in a move that is sure to...
And now, after all these years, those secrets he carried are allegedly starting to trickle out, not directly from Trevor, but from people close to the situation who just can't keep the lid on any longer. The question is, what could possibly be so damaging, so earth-shattering, that a man would turn down millions and stay silent to keep it buried? To even begin to understand, we have to rewind all the way back to Meghan as Rachel, the 18-year-old LA girl with stars in her eyes, dreaming of a bigger life, and maybe, just maybe, already making choices that would follow her forever.
Who had remained in the shadows for nearly a decade, realized he had been recast in her story, not just erased.
The gossip mill claims Meghan wasn't just worried about college applications or part-time jobs like most teens. No, picture this, a fresh-faced high school graduate finding herself in Las Vegas. But not the glossy Vegas you see in Hollywood films. This was the gritty, neon-lit side of town. The part of Vegas with 24/7 chapels where you can marry with nothing more than an ID and a witness. A place where questions about age and motive aren't exactly a priority.
To the producers, bemusement, Meghan was keen to set up her permanent home in Toronto rather than commute like all the other...
So why would someone be in such a desperate rush to say, I do? Enter Joe Giuliano. According to the rumor mill, this wasn't just some drunken Vegas mistake with Elvis as the officiant. No, speculators insist family members were present as witnesses, hinting that this was a carefully planned event, not a spontaneous blunder. But here's where it spirals into the truly bizarre. Instead of ending in the usual messy divorce with court records and paperwork for all to see, the whispers claim Meghan's alleged Vegas marriage wrapped up with something far trickier, an annulment.
Word has it that ambitious Meghan Markle is desperately scheming for yet another major televised interview. This time with the...
For anyone not fluent in legal jargon, an annulment basically wipes a marriage off the record, like it never legally existed. Poof, gone. And in Nevada, with the right lawyers and the right paperwork, records like these can simply vanish. That's what fuels the conspiracy theorists. They believe the Giuliano family had both the clout and the cash to make the whole ordeal disappear. Court files sealed, documentation missing, and a paper trail that leads absolutely nowhere.
Time. Meghan was an aspiring actress just starting out in Hollywood while I was still a newcomer in the comedy world. We met at a mutual...
And the strangest part? The total silence from that entire chunk of Meghan's life. No photos online, no casual stories from friends, nothing. It's as if someone took a giant eraser and scrubbed her history clean. And when people see that kind of void, that kind of blackout, the gossip only grows louder. What was so important to hide?
Well, I mean, it's very, very odd because there's such a mess going on around them.
But wait, the Vegas marriage whispers? That's just the beginning. Because what conspiracy hunters claim to have uncovered next is even more unsettling. They say Meghan has a missing year in her timeline, an entire period that doesn't line up with the official story. Officially, Meghan graduated high school in 1999 and then took a gap year before starting at Northwestern University. Totally normal, right? Tons of students take a break to travel, explore, and find themselves.
Meghan Markle petrified ex-husband Trevor Engelson. Will pen explosive book Meghan Markle was married.
That's the story Meghan's camp has always pushed. Her gap year filled with traveling the world, learning from new cultures, expanding her horizons. It fits perfectly with her later brand. Worldly, cultured, sophisticated. The kind of background that makes her look like the ideal royal candidate. But here's the problem. There's almost no evidence it actually happened. No photos of this supposed trip, no study abroad paperwork, no exchange records, no travel documents, nothing. And remember, this was the late 90s, a time when people still snapped disposable cameras like crazy, especially on big trips. For a young woman who'd later become one of the most photographed people on Earth, this void is deafening. That's why internet sleuths started digging, and what they pieced together paints a wildly different picture. According to them, Meghan wasn't jet-setting around Europe with a backpack and journal. Nope. She was allegedly lying low in Chicago, specifically with the Giuliano family. Not glamorous, not adventurous, but quiet, hidden, almost like someone was carefully managing her whereabouts. So why would an ambitious 18-year-old with the world ahead of her choose to hole up in the Midwest with people who weren't even her family? What was happening that demanded secrecy? Still tight-lipped, at least in public. And that silence makes the rumors louder, more believable, more haunting. So here's where the online obsession really takes off. The documents. The theorists point to one detail again and again: the strange modifications made to official records. Take Archie's birth certificate, for example. At first it listed Rachel Meghan Markle, but later it was altered to say Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. The palace called it routine paperwork. But to the people who've been digging into Meghan's history, it's proof that records can and do get changed. And if such changes can happen under global media scrutiny, imagine what could have been done decades ago, quietly, when Meghan was just another unknown young woman. Online researchers argue that if someone had the resources and motivation, altering academic records, travel documents, even birth details would have been child's play. And they insist the Giuliano family had both. Now, combine that with the fact that Meghan's Northwestern University enrollment dates don't perfectly align when cross-checked. Official records say one thing, older alumni paperwork hints at another. Sure, universities make clerical mistakes all the time, but conspiracy theorists, they see patterns. Patterns that point to a carefully managed timeline. And when you line up those patterns with the whispers about Noel, things get explosive. If Meghan did indeed have a child in 1995, that child would be nearly 30 now, and according to gossip forums, may have already started a family of their own, which means Meghan, the woman carefully branded as a modern mom with toddlers, could secretly be a grandmother. Imagine the palace spin doctors trying to cover that up. But here's the part that makes people lean in closer. Trevor Engelson. According to chatter in online communities, Trevor has allegedly hinted through those infamous intermediaries that he knows more than he's ever said publicly. Some even claim he's sitting on sealed documents from their divorce, documents that could contain medical information or timelines that don't match Meghan's official narrative. If true, it would explain his decision to stay silent all these years. Not loyalty, not dignity, but leverage. And yet, silence has an expiration date. The internet doesn't forget. Theories keep resurfacing. Old whispers resurface as new evidence. And as Meghan's profile only gets bigger, so does the scrutiny. The more famous she became, the more determined people grew to fill in the missing pieces of her past. And now, with these rumors about Noel and the missing year, the stakes couldn't be higher. Because think about it. What happens if Noel, or Noel's supposed child, decides to step into the spotlight? What if they start asking questions about where they came from? Gossipers believe this this could be Meghan's biggest nightmare, because unlike old friends or estranged relatives, alleged children and grandchildren don't just disappear. They exist, they live, they have their own voices, and that's something even the most polished PR machine can't fully control.